So President Donald Trump, if you saw this, he is threatening to hold up a new stadium, which is in the works, for the NFL's Washington franchise, the team in Washington. The president sending out some comments on social media. If they do not restore the old name, hail to the Redskins, hail to victory. Now, President Trump also said over the weekend that he wants the Cleveland baseball team to change its name back as well, to revert to the former name, the Indians, which I know will make Dick in Dayton very happy if they do that. He still calls them that. He said, the president, there is a big clamoring for this as well. So, all right, and of course, people freaked out, like the sports media. Oh, my God. All right, so let us discuss the question. How do you evaluate President Donald Trump calling on the Redskins and Indians nicknames to return to pro sports? So on this one, I've got Tsunami and Mendoza line, and that's it. All right, so I get a kick out of the media meltdown. So I'm perusing the commentary, and people are losing their frickin' minds, right? Some of the sports media people, some of these people I know, they're just losing their minds, right? They're clutching their pearls. Oh my God! It's like they need one of those old school Victorian fainting couches. They're so emotional by this, and here's why, right? Because when you break it down unscientifically, right? When you break it down, and if you're actually honest about the story, it was political. The reason those team names changed was the political climate in America. The teams bowed down to the politics at the time. They changed their names that had been around for a very long time. And now it's political again, right? It's different politics, but it's political again. President Trump suggesting to people, hey, change the names back. Now Trump he's tapping into something here, the president, that there's a lot of people that agree with him. A lot of it. In fact, I've talked about this. I have some boots on the ground in the Washington, D.C. area who have informed me the Redskins, or the Commanders, have done market research for years since they changed the name, and they've asked, like, what name do you want? What name, and overwhelmingly, the people that actually buy tickets, the actual customers, have said Redskins. That's the name they want back. And so that, people don't bring that up, but that's what they want. And so they're like, hey, listen, the people that follow the team, that actually pay for the tickets and buy the merchandise that's all overpriced, they're like, hey, we like this. We don't want to scrub this. We like this. This is the name. And in the years, and I understand we were in a period in like 2020, 2021, like there was this weird period here in America where we were rewriting history, right? There were, knocking down statues. They got rid of the Redskins name. The Indians name got swallowed up by the tsunami that was taking place in America. You had owners of heritage franchises, right? American institutions, we're told. Like these are community trusts, these professional sports teams who were bending down, genuflecting faster than a referee trying to put the ball down for Tom Brady back in the day when he was playing for the Patriots. And so it was not because the fans, the customers, demanded that these names go away. That was not it at all. In fact, it was the opposite of that. It was because of some social media mob that was out there that needed fresh meat, and they're like, all right, they just eat everything up. And these professional sports leagues bowed down to that. But keep in mind, there were people that had backbone in sports that didn't do that. The Atlanta Braves. Major League Baseball wanted the Braves to change their nickname because of the political climate. The Atlanta Braves still exist. If it was up to the mob, the Atlanta Braves would have gone away. You can go down the hockey team in Chicago, the Blackhawks. There were people that they should change the name. In college, the Florida State Seminoles, there was a push. You got to get rid of the Seminoles. I don't care if the Indian group support it. You got to get rid of it. Some liberal white people don't like it. You got to get rid of it. So listen, the names are alive. Those names are alive today because they had owners that had a backbone. The Washington Redskins, Cleveland Indians did not have owners that have backbone. So now the president's calling out. Now, the other part of that, like if you were to say, page 2, what are the chances that the Commanders in the NFL and the Guardians in Major League Baseball were to actually do the old switcheroo and go back to the old name, right? Just go back to the old name. It's not great. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's great. I don't think it is great because these teams know it's just they've got to hold their ground because Trump's only going to be president for a few more years, and then somebody else will be in the White House, so they just have to ride the wave here. But it's not zero. Okay, it's not zero. And the reason it's not zero, The Washington Commanders, what a dumb name, and the Cleveland Guardians, an equally dumb name. The current names, they've had those names since 2022. So here we are in the summer of 2025. Both have said they don't plan to change their name. Of course, spoiler alert, both of them said for years they were not going to change the name Indians and Redskins. So who cares what they say? They never said they were going to change the names in the first place. They did, but they said they weren't. And they finally, they broke down and changed the name. But I'm going to set the Maller odds on this at plus 400. I'm going to set the Maller odds on this at plus 400. That is a 200 hitter. That is the Mendoza line. That is the Mendoza line in baseball, old baseball player Mario Mendoza. So 200 batting average. And if you look at the 200 batting average, that sucks, right? That's terrible. That is the threshold for offensive futility. Although in modern baseball, that's acceptable. In the old days, it wasn't. But the name change, if you go from the Redskins and the Guardians, this is like the symbol of the outrage era that we were in, right? This is like they changed to these names. The great purge of sports mascots, which they took those down, and also a bunch of high school teams had to change their name and all this stuff, and some colleges. But to replace the Commanders and the Guardians, those names, those replacement names right there, terrible. They suck. They're so bad. It's like the bureaucrats got together, and it's like some kind of dystopian sci-fi thing they got together. Hey, we've got to get a committee together because everything needs a committee. We've got to have branding, and how can we come up with a name? We'll get a committee together, and let's have some meetings. We'll do some Zoom meetings because it was 2020, and it's like the mascots were put together by the Department of the Bland. How can it be the most bland possible nickname and the bland? It's so stupid, right? And so they came up with Guardians and they came up with the Commanders, and they were selected. I am convinced. I was not in the room, but I am convinced nonetheless that those nicknames were selected for one reason and one reason only: to offend no one. Right? Their goal was, we do not want to, we're going to name the Cleveland baseball team after a bridge. They named it after a bridge. And the Commanders, it sounds like some rip-off G.I. Joe character or something like that. So in the process of trying not to offend anyone, which was the goal, they have managed to offend everyone. Right? Everyone's like, this is so stupid. It's lifeless. There's no energy. There's no passion. And the logos they came up with, I think I could come up with that if you gave me AI, like Chat GPT or whatever. I could come up with a logo like that. They're minimalist. They're forgettable logos. Why would anyone buy merchandise for these teams? The logos are just blah. If you can create a better logo on your phone than a professional sports team, why would you buy that logo? It makes no sense. They're sanitized. They're shrink-wrapped. They just blow. And it was like some kind of diversity, inclusion, marketing division came up with it. This is terrible. They're horrible. And they've got about as much edge as a cracker, like a gluten-free cracker. It's just nothing. There's just blah, 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 blah. And then to compound the issue, right, you get rid of names that had a legacy, that had a following, that had tradition and all that stuff, and the new name, and you combine the name and the logo, and it's like plain oatmeal is what it is.